Hello, everybody. I'm Orange. He Disco. I'm tired
Yeah.
and irresponsible because it's 12:30 at night. But that's not important right now. What is
I'm
important?
staring at Ghostface because I like him.
We've been talking about like the new because they leaked new information about the next Rift with Ghosty Boy.
You'll
such.
see PTB videos sometimes.
Yeah, also TV videos on the way soon. We haven't made any yet, but we will be making some hopefully tomorrow, but within the coming days.
Be able to make a couple tomorrow.
But I figured
Ghosty Boy.
I would show you something fruits of my labor from school. I made a video game.
Which I would imagine is funner than Dead by Daylight.
Honestly, it's less bullshit most of the time. It's hard-ish, but so
to make easy games.
let's get started. I made a game. I didn't come up with the name. Wow, that is loud, isn't it? Let me just turn it down a bit. But yeah. So here's title screen. I want to say the amount of effort that all of this, like, so, like, you notice how like it like comes in, right?
Yeah.
That part plus the text, the music, the background, all of it. The amount of effort it takes to just do that. Like, let me show you. For one, here are all the objects I have. You've got your basics. You've got, the player, weapons, enemies, explosions, such and such. Let's see. There should be one for the title. Yeah, object title. So you have this, right? Jump to point, room width, room height, assign variable, image alpha. Don't know what that means, honestly, but I know it does something useful to what it did there, where it, like, zoomed out, whatever, settings and scale, step, this crap. And then I have it set to, when I press enter, it goes to the main room where the gameplay starts. Just to show you. It's not a very long game, so you press enter, and here's the game. Isn't this fun? This definitely doesn't look like it came out of the 2000s.
But I like the 2000s.
Honestly, most of the assets came from like mid-late 2000s anyways. And I don't mind it, but yeah, you can definitely. But it's fun. You got power-ups, you got a bunch of enemies. Also, like, you power up weapons and stuff, and you lose it every time you get hit. And then here's the boss.
Excuse me,
yeah, it's similar. I lost my power-ups. Look at this. This is all made by me, baby. Not the assets. Like, 0 assets were made by me, but I used all the assets in my own creative way. Look at this intense gameplay. Also, those projectiles, they do a lot of damage, as you can see. They do lots of damage. For difficulty. And you win. And then you press enter and bam, and then there's a separate, game over scheme when you game over because you suck. Look at the damage. So
I forgot that perk did that.
Your thoughts?
Better than anything I can make, that's for sure.
Yeah, and so let me show you. So I have all these objects.
You have no idea what I have planned for you. I'll be in the news for weeks. I'll make sure of it.
He's reading Ghostface stuff.
Because I like him.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Because
5,
wh-
6,
that's what this
7,
perk
8,
does?
9, 10, 11, 12,
This perk
13,
sounds
14,
dope.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25,
This perk sounds
26, 27, 28,
amazing.
29, 30, 31 objects.
You know what's kind of scary?
I made 31 objects.
Jesus.
You want to know what they are? We got the asteroids.
Is it possible to make Michael's tier radius 0 outside of tier 1? I'm starting to think there might be a...
Maybe.
There's one... Ghostface has a perk that literally decreases your tier radius.
There's also Doctor's Modern Abuse when you're not in chase that decreases it also.
Yeah, that's true. You probably could if you combine the two.
Anyways, so let me go through my objects I've made. Alright, you ready? We have the asteroids in the main level, right? We have the background music in the main level. We have the boss. We have the boss asteroids. They are different because I have them at a different speed, and I think they do more damage, I believe. If I remember... Hold on, let me check. Oh, wait, I can't check it. I have to check the player. Also, you see how many events the player has? Do you see this? Do you see how many events the player has?
Oh, Jesus.
Do you see how much I had to fucking do?
He has an aura reading perk. Of course he does.
Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah, I did increase it. Also, I did... You can, have, certain objects share the same code with, other ones and same events, which is nice. But basically... boss already does more damage and is faster and stuff and has a wider range of where it can spawn and how fast and blah 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 blah. We have the spawner for the boss asteroids. We have the explosion for the boss, which shows up in the game over screen or the win screen because it wasn't showing up at the boss, and I decided to just have it there. We have another one that I didn't end up actually using because it was... I missed a week, a full week plus the week before besides Monday while we were working on this, and I managed to get most things. There were some things that we were supposed to do, have an intro for the boss coming in and having a death animation and some other snaz faz, but otherwise I also had for a long time. So how you saw how the boss was bouncing back and forth. Yeah, I had a problem making him do that because not that. Oh god, where do I have it? Here. So I had this right. Jump to point, X previous, Y previous, which basically when you hit touching the boundaries, the edges, it makes you not go past them. It's basically invisible walls, basically, from my understanding at least. I'm not an expert yet. Then we have the speed, which makes him go the other way, and what would happen is so he'd go one way, right? He would bounce off a wall, and then he would just stop on the other one, and he would not move. And I was like, okay, what if I just repeat this thing, but have it go the different directions, and it didn't do anything. So I was like, oh, because I was like, it's gonna be tedious, but I'll probably could just do that. Nope, can't do that. And eventually I was like, wait. I looked at different direction stuff, and there's random direction, so it can just goes back and forth. And it probably took longer than it should have, probably, to figure that out, as well as making the boss fire the weapon. There's a lot of things that were problematic, but I was able to figure out most things by myself, because I'm a true pro master gamer, mega level genius, and
Who knew that one guy shit posting in his basement was better than an entire AAA game development studio? Who would have thought?
Where was it? Oh yeah, there's the boss gate where you touch it, and then you go to the boss room, boss health, Oh yeah, I also have a problem because like the coordinates are weird and like trying to make it so that like you have the boss alpha like at the top, player at the bottom, without it being like too stretched and covering too much of the screen and doing all weird crap. And I don't fully understand it still, but like my teacher tried his best to make it make sense, and I did get everything situated anyways. We have the boss level controller, which I forget what this does. Oh yeah. It so basically this is like it like it'll show like a timer for like like the distance between you and the gate, and then other things and such. The music for the boss room, the boss weapon. I have like multiple. I have like I think 4 weapons. One for the player when he has like 3 power ups. There's one for the second enemy, and then the boss. Also, I had like an explosion for the weapon, like boss weapon, because it looked weird just disappearing. Basic codes on the weapons, and the explosions are just mostly simple. It's confusing because like certain like just the act of like having an enemy get like shot and have an explosion and then just be done. All of that you have to have like different collisions with like the enemy like having a collision with the weapon, and then make sure the weapon doesn't just like keep going and make it disappear, and then creating the explosion at the spot of the enemy, and then also make sure that goes away. It's been there's a reason why it took numerous weeks, even with the couple that I missed. But it was fun though. And also later on I added the sound effects and the music and other such things. But yeah, definitely. Also, like making power up work was interesting, and yeah, there's lots of interesting things to process. It was it was quite a process. Oh yeah. Anyways, so we have the boss weapon, the explosion for it, the first enemy, which is just goes down, and you shoot it or you get hit and it explodes and does damage. And then there's the second one that shoots stuff, and same thing. The third one's the UFOs that like home onto your like current location. They like start going, and then they just go until they hit you, and they do a bunch of damage. The explosion for all of them, and the asteroids, the spawner for the enemies, the weapon for the second enemy. Had to make objects for the game over title so that the functions actually worked, like going to the different screens and stuff. Objects for all the music stuff. Game over music, win music, title music, background music, boss music, so on. A spawner for the power-ups, plus, the power-ups themselves, and then the weapons that you get afterwards, and getting all that to work also, and having to set different collisions with other things to, like, for that to work and do different things, and and that's just the objects. There's also, like, how many? 5 rooms. A boss room, game over room, main room, where main level, title room, and then the win room. Sounds. There's friggin'. We got the boss, which I forget. Is this the music, or yeah, that's the music. Let me put boss music because that it doesn't really matter, but whatever. The sound effect for them exploding, the impact when you like hit the boss, the intro, which I was gonna add an intro, like animation, but my teacher said it was fine having it since I missed 2 goddamn weeks. So that's just kind of whatever. The explosion, that's fun. Game over music, the main level music. The sound effect for picking up power up, shooting the power up weapon, music for the title, shooting the normal weapon, getting music, winning. And then I have a bunch of sprites. So everything that you see has sprites, including the background. Also, having the background moving, as I'm sure you probably noticed, like it was moving, right?
Yeah.
Doing that. So basically, I had to mess with. So there's checkboxes of horizontal tile and vertical tile. What it means to check and have or have unchecked for these, I do not exactly know, but they do something important. And then the speed, the vertical speed, to 0.75, so that it actually moves. Just to have it move, because otherwise it's just like stagnant. Also, you see these question marks?
Yeah.
These are the objects, right? So what do we have? So here's the player, the ship. Some objects, like if you have sprite for them, it like you can just see whatever. But a lot of objects like you don't want to be seen because they're just like they have like certain important things like spawning enemies, controlling the health of the player or the enemies, so on and so forth, right? So we have the player right here. We have the enemy spawner right here. Player health, boss level controller, which is the gate thing that like you collide with and then you go to the boss room. Power up spawner, which spawns those power ups, and then the background music for the main room, right? So that's the main room. The tile room. Ignore this text. I really just made just normal like sprite. Before also like we added like colors and stuff, right? And then so this right here is the object that like has the actual like functions of going to the different rooms. So what we got? We just have the itself and then the music. Pretty simple. The game over room. No, I'm not trying to make a different name. Just these do look the same, but this is the object. This is the sprite. Whatever. And then same thing as the title. Just the object for the game over, and then the music for it, right? And then there's the win room, which basically same thing. Also, tile music. That's not right. I think I might have forgotten to get rid of that. But I did add some bits of code to stop that, so I see why now. Probably should have looked harder into that. But anyways, it should just be the object and the music, but I goofed apparently, as I typically do with most things. And then we got so in the boss room, the final one, right? Technically, it's not like in the order of how things happen. It's not like the last thing, but it's whatever. I've spent a lot of time in this room alone. I think probably I'll say the most in the main room, but a lot of time in this one, especially when I came back. So we have the player, we have the player health, we have the boss health, and the boss itself, the spawner for the boss asteroids, because like originally how I had it is I just like put in the spawner for like a separate spawner in the boss room that was like the same as that like spawned all the other like enemies, right, to make it challenging. However, in the like, because there's like a checklist of like things he wanted in the game, like power-ups, different enemies, boss, different things, such and whatnot. It mentioned, of course, mentioning that he didn't want the enemies to like, like keep going even when you went to the different room, which, it would kind of look like that would be the case to an extent if I did what I was going to do. So I just turned it into a spawner for the boss version of the asteroids, and then the music for the boss, and then the trap spawner in here, since obviously without it in here they wouldn't spawn, and because I made it so that the boss doesn't take like a whole lot of damage. That's right. Doesn't take a lot of damage from the main weapon. Because since you have the power up weapon, right? Because so the player has like 1,000 HP. The boss has 2,000. Because why not? Am I right? So the main weapon takes away 20 damage, which, as I'm sure you can, if you can do simple math, 20 minus 2,000 is not a lot. So I have the power up and do 35 damage, which isn't that much more than this, but I didn't want to make it like too strong, because I wanted like some challenge, you know. Although, funnily enough, because I was worried about things being too hard, and then in the notes, whatever, that like after like my teacher graded and like whatever my thing, he did mention that it was too easy, like, and like too easy to like get the power ups and just other things. I was like, well, crap. I was so worried about it being too hard that it's too easy. God damn it. Which, funnily enough, now that I mentioned that, I did add so I'm making a different game where you point and click and shoot stuff, and trying to make that work just normally was a process. So I forget what inspired me to do this, what I thought of, but I was led to the thought process of a hard mode, right? So let me paint you a picture, since I don't have it with me. I probably won't bring it home until I finish it, when I like zip it. I mean, I could do it early, but we'll see, right? So basically, we've got this room with tiles, so like, background and walls, like actually there's stuff, right? You got the player, they move around all over the place, you like aim your cursor and it'll look pointing that direction, and you press like the mouse and it shoots bullets, right? And you move at like 4 speed, which is pretty decent. It has like you also have to add a cooldown to the weapon, so it doesn't just like a stream of pain and destruction. So you have to do that, and then depending on the cooldown, you can make it like shorter, like smaller, bigger, and shorter, longer. And then the speed of the projectiles. And then there's the enemies, which gradually they just keep spawning in from all different directions, and normally take 2 hits, and they're slower than the player for obvious reasons. And also the player has 3 HP, so 3 hits. And enemies spawn in and do whatever, and you get points, which I finally added a way to actually probably gain them. All good and dandy and fine. But I was like, wouldn't it be funny if someone were just casually playing the game, racking up the score, and they happened to press the letter H? What would happen in this scenario, which I want to try and create, right? Your HP goes from 3 to 1. Your speed gets halved from 4 to 2. The cooldown gets increased from 10 seconds to 20. Or maybe it's milliseconds. It's but the amount of time doubled. Also making them slower, the projectiles slower, making the enemies faster, much faster, and having more HP, or at least currently they're one-shottable, because if you don't do that, you cannot escape them because they're faster than you, and also you shoot really slowly. You also get more points for killing them in the state. And there'd be text saying hard mode enabled or active or something, or just hard mode, that kind of thing. A couple problems. One, the main things, I should say, is that certain functions, increasing the cooldown, slowing down the projectile, speeding up the enemies, and giving or taking away health points. There's one problem. Regardless if I have it based off, if the key is being, held down, or it was just pressed once, or done whatever, I would have to hold down the button in order for it to keep applying the slower speed, increased cooldown, faster enemies, etc. Right? The only things that would just be chill would be the health of the player, the speed of the player, sometimes the score, but even then, that's another thing that you have to hold down. And because of that fact alone, and considering that you move with WSD and trying to move with that and use the mouse while also pressing the H key, as I'm sure you would probably know if you've ever touched a keyboard in your life, is not very comfortable. So I just, instead of having being the H key, which by the way I chose it because H for hard mode, yeah. I made it the space bar for convenience and for so that you don't strain your fingers playing the equivalent of a late 2000s Flash game made by a 17-year-old in the year of our Lord and Savior 2022.
Yeah. You just revealed so much personal information in that one sentence.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, the CIA are gonna be at your house.
But yeah,
CIA, open up! Boom, 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 boom. They break for the door. They just see Ghostface standing there.
Was
all they hear is just "What's up?"
I
love Ghostface, man. Scary
Great
Movie
character.
1 was the I love Scary Movie 1. Let's see.
What else? I mean, I'm sure there's more I can talk about, but I'm tired and it's also
Good always
late.
do part 2 when you're more alone.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'll just end that here. I just wanted to share this just so just because first I was just gonna show it good old disco, and I was like, you know what, let's show. Well, I think it was probably your idea, but
Probably.
yeah, you mentioned it, and I was like, you know what, yeah, why not? Because I already shared the Doom Snap map, which it's obviously not the same. It's a lot more.
No, but
I mean, it's still complicated, but it's not like this. This is a whole other thing.
I love Doom.
But I figured also, since that video did pretty well, it has over 100 something views at this point. So I figured you guys would probably potentially, hopefully, be interested in seeing this beginning of my game creating journey, whatever. Do hacker. I definitely would want to make games for my free time. I don't know what I'm gonna make. I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do yet, but I'll figure something out. Might tweak and work on this game here and there, just kind of trying to perfect it, so to say. I guess, But anyways, just gonna end that there. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. God, I'm probably I don't know what to say.
What's
Yeah. PTB videos in the coming days. If we're not, we're gonna do Dunderheads, which we shouldn't be. And when I say we, I mostly mean me, and mainly, yeah, just me. Uh, uh, to make sure that we actually, make stuff, which we should. But it's easier to say things than do things, so we'll see. We'll see. But there's that. Also, the 40 subscriber special should be soon, in the coming days as well. Or reason it's not because of a loss of the track of time and also probably energy. But that should be soon. Again, we'll see on that too. Which, by the way, if you don't know, will be us playing doing a part 2 of Finance at Candies, remastered. So that'll be fun. And yeah, there's some other things on the horizon. So all in that there. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you have a fantastic day. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.
What's up?
What's up?